Two teenagers die at the end of this story. That is the inescapable fact of Romeo and Juliet. The true tragedy is the mechanical, merciless chain of choices that forces them into the grave. That chain starts here, in the city of Verona. Two noble families, the Montagues and the Capulets, are locked in a bitter, violent feud. The origin of this hatred is completely forgotten, yet it runs so deep it infects every layer of the city. Servants from these two households openly fight in the streets. On one side of this divide is Romeo Montague, young, emotional, and highly impulsive. On the other is Juliet Capulet, intelligent, but living strictly under the heavy expectations of her family. When a city is entirely structured around inherited hatred, any act of rebellion guarantees a violent backlash, and love in Verona is the ultimate rebellion. Romeo sneaks into a masked ball at the Capulet house to distract himself from a heartbreak. Instead, he sees Juliet. The connection is electric and immediate. They speak only a few words and kiss before either even knows who the other is. Then the trap snaps shut. Romeo discovers the girl he kissed is a Capulet, and Juliet learns he is a Montague. They belong to the very families sworn to destroy each other. Later that night, Romeo sneaks into the Capulet orchard and overhears Juliet confessing her love from her balcony. She asks why a name should matter, a deliberate rejection of their inherited identities and the toxic social order of their parents. The next day, they make a reckless choice. They secretly marry with Friar Lawrence's help. The friar agrees, driven by a naive hope that a union between these two teenagers might force an end to the family feud. By attempting to use love as a weapon to heal a fractured city, they drastically raise the stakes for both families. The trap is now fully set. Soon after the wedding, Juliet's fiery cousin Tybalt confronts Romeo in the street, challenging him to a duel. Romeo refuses to draw his sword against his new secret family, but Romeo's proud friend Mercutio cannot tolerate the insult. He steps in, and in the ensuing chaos, Mercutio is fatally wounded. Overcome by sudden grief and rage, Romeo abandons all logic. He attacks Tybalt and kills him in revenge. This single impulsive decision guarantees a violent end. The narrative of hope completely collapses, replaced by an inescapable cascade of consequences. The Prince of Verona responds swiftly, banishing Romeo to the city of Mantua under threat of execution. The lovers are severed almost exactly as they are united. Meanwhile, Juliet's parents remain blind to her secret marriage. They quickly force her into an immediate engagement with an aristocrat named Count Paris. Desperate, Juliet turns back to Friar Lawrence. This timeline flowchart illustrates his incredibly fragile, multi-step plan. Juliet will take a potion to fake her own death, she will be placed in the family tomb, a letter will be sent to Mantua to inform Romeo, and finally, Romeo will arrive to rescue her. Juliet drinks the potion. She is completely crushed between social obedience and her personal truth, leaving this extreme deception as her only remaining path. Looking back at the timeline, the plan fails right here. The critical letter detailing the potion never reaches Romeo in Mantua. A mundane, logistical failure destroys everything. Hearing only the false news that Juliet is dead, Romeo buys real poison and immediately rushes back to the Capulet tomb. Finding her motionless body, Romeo drinks the poison. Moments later, Juliet awakens. She sees Romeo dead beside her. Realizing exactly what has happened, she takes his dagger and takes her own life. In the end, the lovers are defeated not by a traditional villain or pure hatred, but by the agonizing cruelty of a delayed message and a few missed seconds. The authorities arrive at the tomb, followed shortly by the Montagues and the Capulets. They are finally forced to look down at the bodies of their own children. Faced with this reality, the ancient feud ends. The families agree to peace, but it is a peace purchased exclusively through an unbearable, irreversible loss. This specific tragedy has endured across centuries and remains a cornerstone of global literature for a distinct reason. It asks a question that still feels painfully modern. Real-world catastrophes are rarely born from absolute evil. They are born from the fatal combination of human misunderstanding, of tragic timing, and inherited division.